Okay, let's talk about grid work. And I'm going to be working on the tiara. I like to do grid work. It looks really nice inside of all kinds of things. Let's see, they work inside of feathers. They make applique look really nice. Here's some examples of some, right? This is just a plain, ordinary grid. See, it's just plain. This can be done with a walking foot too. It does not have to be done free motion. I did this with a walking foot. Here is the walking foot. Okay, this one's to my Jane. And then there's another piece that fits that either is on the Jane, but they look a little different, but they usually they call them a quilting bar. And this is a quilting bar right here. So what you would do is, like, say my shank is right here, because it just attaches like that. Here we go. It would attach like this, and you'd move it up and down, and this moves in and out so that you can set your needle, and you can have it come this side, or I think you can even have it go on, well, yeah, I'd have to change this hardware, but it could be on this side. This one actually works only well, this side, but this one I like, and this one's to the Jane. This one doesn't work this way for the regular sewing machines. And so you would your needle would be here, and once you've stitched this one, let's just say we've done that. There's my needle. I would move this in to whatever measurement I wanted it. So after I was done stitching one line, then I moved this over to and put this right in the line where you stitched before. And you can, and then you stitch along so that they're all evenly spaced. That works fairly well. If you're into perfection, draw them on with a pen. You'll be a lot happier. Okay, now there's that one. See how much it really makes the applique pop out? And how I do this one is I just simply go up and down, and I don't think, yeah. This one I drew it all in, because what I did when I came to here, I went this way and this way, this way, this way, and then continued on, and then same thing here, you know. So I would continually stitch around the applique. You don't have to tie off. Some people also will just do a locking stitch here and then pick your needle up, do another locking stitch, and continue on. Either way is acceptable. This one I drew in because I wanted it to be perfectly 1 inch, so it's got friction markers all over it. This is the same grid, except instead of being straight up and down, it's a diagonal, and gives it a whole different look. Even though this looks more masculine, to me looks more feminine. Again, it's this. Now this one is a great way too. Same thing. You just go up and down and up and down and up and down. When you're doing grid work, I do recommend that you spray baste your layers together, because especially if you're using the walking foot, because there is a tendency for this fabric to shift on you, and this one doesn't show it, but there probably was shifting, although a lot of shifting can be fixed by wetting the fabric, spraying it with a bottle or a little bit of spray starch, and pressing it with a steam iron till it's flat and it's stretched into the place where it should be. So there is a work around it, but it will help if you spray baste your layers together so your layers don't shift. And I even do that with ruler work when I know I'm going to be doing a lot of grid work. Now, if you're doing on the regular sewing machine, this is the same grid as this. This is a 1 inch diagonal grid. This is a 1 inch, I think, 1 inch diagonal as well. The difference is on my sewing machine there is a stitch called the serpentine stitch, and you'll recognize it if I turn it this way. See how it goes back and forth? I just lengthen my stitch to about 3 instead of normal is a 2, and I made it as wide as it would go, which I think was 7 millimeters, and you just use your same grid line, you just let the needle go back and forth, and it gives you a whole different texture. And so, like I said, you can get a lot of quilting done without actually doing free motion quilting, because a lot of people are afraid of it. So using a grid, it actually helps when you're doing things like this. So let me get the friction pen and I'll show you where the grid is. Okay, so I had drawn one line here, you can see, and the bottom is here, and another line here. Here's my 1-inch grid. I'll just do a little bit of it so you can see. Okay, is this one running out of ink? I had a whole bag full of pens and I don't know where they are. Okay, and then I had here and here. Okay, so that, let me do another one at the top. Okay, so when I was sewing this, you see that grid, that's what the grid looked like. So as I was stitching, I would start at, here's a line, here's one part of the grid, and I would go up to the here and down, up to here and down, up to here and down, and then I would work my way up to, okay, so I want to go in, this is another grid, go up to the top. So now I'm going to the top and do it, and so that I'm landing opposite. Where this one peaked, this one is now the bottom, and they offset. Then I worked up to here to the next one. Again, I had another grid here. And so it looks like a big mess. So can you see that pretty well? I hope you can. See? Using a grid makes it look nice. Once the marks are removed, then it's great. This is when I do with the walk, not with the walking foot. This I did free motion, especially in the beginning. Clamshells are not my favorite. They still aren't my favorite. They're irregular. But when I used a grid, they looked a lot better. And for my case, whenever I put something in between it, like here's the regular one, and then I put these little, I don't know, ferny things in the middle, it looks a lot better. So, okay, now one way of easily marking your grid, I'll take this into here so I can have more room, is this. I have one of these things, and it's one of those plastic templates, and this helps you to draw these grids in. And I have one that's 1/2 inch, and this one is I think 1.5 inches. This is a little bigger than 1 inch. How big is this? No, it's 1 inch. Okay, so I can quickly, you can also use pounce powder. This way, I'll just do a few, do one more line. Okay, okay, and then we go knocking everything down. I didn't knock it down, it didn't fall. And then run it this way. And you can see through it. And then you mark up and down. This is a quick way to draw a grid. And I don't have very many of these marking templates because I usually don't mark things. But this works really good. And look, I've got a nice grid. And it was done very quickly, so now we can go to the machine and use it. So anyway, let's set up the machine. How to do the continuous orange peels, and this is going to be a square. So it's going to be 2 by 2. I'm going to do big ones. This is this one. Here's the top, and here's the other end of it there. So I'm going to, you start at the top. Okay, so I'm going to sew down. Okay, and then I'm going to come down one, up one, go to the next one. I'm going about spacing it by the end of my foot. Come come down, up, and across, down, up, and across. Okay, then you come down, and then across, then you come all the way back. And then you come this way. Then you do the same thing. Whoops. That's okay. I forgot it, but I can fix that. Down, up, cross, down, up, cross, and then over, and over. These are not perfect. And here where I forgot it, I can just come up and do it this way. Okay, now let's just say I've done it to all, I'm already done, I don't want to do any more, and then you'll just come up. There, and now, now your grid work, now that orange peel is done. Okay, now how I can do grid work, I'll just move this, I'm going to draw a box. So this is my square. I'm just guessing this is a square. Close enough, right? Okay, and all right, but let me break thread. This and my scissor. Aren't these the cutest little things? These are made by Bowen. I got them at an art show, at a quilt show years, oh God, about 15 years ago at Houston, and they're made from France. You know, these little teeny scissors were 24 bucks, ridiculously expensive. But you know, Jerry's got to have all this stuff, crazy. Okay, say now I want to do grid work. It's like it's the center of something, and I want to do grid work. I'm not gonna bring my thread up, so I'm just gonna go straight. Okay, then I decide I'll go across as far as I want to. Say I want it to be a 1/4 inch grid. I'm just using, if you can see this, the edge of my foot here. Or let me turn this around so that I can put the ruler on the other side and you can see it better. Okay, put the ruler on this side. Now, whenever you're doing a ruler, make sure you keep, I've put the Rubbermaid and the drawer liner strip with a piece of double-sided tape, because I can move it if I want to. And if I want to do a 1/4 inch grid, I am just simply lining up the edge of the ruler with that line that I did, and then and usually I will keep 2 hands on the ruler so that it doesn't shift on me, and and then go straight. If I need to move it down, I will. Come across a little bit. Say I want it to be a little longer on these marks. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if you can see that. Yes, you can see it against my hand. Here's the edge. This one right here now will give me a 1/2 inch. So if I line up that line with the 1/2 inch, then now I can get a 1/2 inch grid. I should have made my box a little shorter. And then I could come across again. Here. If I want it to be 3/4, I go to the next line. Just guessing where it is. And one more stitch over. There it is. Using this gives you this line. What I like about doing grid work on the free motion is that you don't get that rippling that happens. I'll go a little further. A little further. Okay. Okay, let's see. What else? Oh, it's like, and then if you wanted more, this actually, if you don't have this ruler, this is a great one to have. I think Handy Quilter makes it, Baby Lock makes it. You can find it on a lot of different places. It serves a lot of, you can do a lot of things with it. And so like this one, if I want to do an inch ruler, an inch, then I would go over here and I can really move this. Let's see, there's a line all the way to the center. There. I mean, heck, I could do it as wide as the ruler. I want a great big grid. I don't know if I'd want one that big, but they're nice. But what else this ruler is good for is it's not only does that, it does clamshells really well. So if you'd have to make your grid this big, but and then come over here and do the, you'd follow a line. And then how you get to the top is you backtrack to the here, to the center. And then I think it just takes it this way. And you go this way. And you do like a half. These are for big ones. See, it's got a line here, so I know to stop, because now I can move it over to here. And come back. And see, you got really, you can do really nice grid work. So that's why I find this really helpful. This this is the same thing as an orange peel. You would put this here. This changes. You can make a big deep orange peel. It's gonna run out of room. Let's see if I can do this. If you're doing ruler work and you don't mind stopping, you're good over here. So you just stop. Went too far. Went off the, there's no batting there. And then back here. And we're back to the beginning. And see, we made a little alternate pattern right there with the end of this, which looks nice in the middle of some blocks. Of course, you got your diagonal, but I don't use it as, I've not used this other than if I'm trying to change an angle. Like if I want to go, let me scoot this over here. See, I'm sewing and I want to go in the diagonal, and I have this line, and this helps me to go to the diagonal without moving your ruler or your fabric. So it's fun to do grid work. Yeah, I didn't get everything nice and neat there. Like I said, I like to use grids for a lot of things. I do have another template that I use too. The other side of this template is nice to use because of the fact that it, let me go back. Oh, that is, okay, see how you can mark the centers. I use this on a lot of things because, and I got something on it, stained by something, who knows. It's because now you can find the centers of your designs or the centers of your blocks. That's fun. But I like this template too. So I use this one as well. Because then it's, this one I like to use for close work on diagonals. I'll move this out of the way. Because this one I like to do for the diagonal, because it's already set on the diagonal. And that, and this one I use a lot. I'll just do a few and see how this one works. See? And you can join them up if you like. And now you've got diagonal grids to follow. And this could be used for circles. This can help you to do pebbles if you want them in a row. And even this is also a good way to teach yourself to do the pebbles, because if you've taken my class before, if you think round, your hands make an E shape. So like, let me come over here. Okay, so if you're thinking round, that's what usually happens. There you go. When you're thinking round, that's what happens. You get an oval. Okay, done. See, usually I get anything but a round shape. But if I'm thinking like I'm going around a box, you touch the four sides of the box, think square, and you end up round. No matter how big they are. And see, that gives you a more rounded appearance. And in my mind, I'm thinking square. And my hands go round. Which means I never pay attention to what I'm thinking. I just do what I want, right? So that's about all I have for you as far as grid work is concerned. Like I said, they're great for filling in backgrounds. They do work really nice. Okay, we'll see you guys. Bye.